Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com. We're fresh from the tropical storm here. So we were out of power for about a day, but we got really, really lucky. Luckily, I don't have any big trees here. I know a lot of friends who, in family, who have lost power, or their car got destroyed by a tree falling on it, or their house got damaged. So we were really, really lucky here, only having power outages for just about a day and a half or so. So hopefully you guys are all safe where you are. If you had any significant damage in your area, please leave a comment below. And that's the downside of living in the Northeast. We get these hurricane/tropical storms. Sorry, it's a really hot day, so I have to run the air conditioning. But hopefully everybody was safe. Now we're sitting in, if this car looks familiar to you, the M340i xDrive. This is my new daily driver. It's a 2020 model that I just leased a few months ago. And you've seen a lot of videos on this, and we won't go over them now, but I'll post them on the up here so you could watch those. Now this is a great car for a 3 Series or an M Sport. BMW does consider these real M cars, even though I don't. It's a great daily driver. So you have 382 horsepower, turbocharged straight 6 engine, all-wheel drive. You could fit your whole family, 5 people with ease. Got a great chassis with the Sport differential. 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, and it makes it a phenomenal car. But 10, 15, 20 years from now, are people going to be buying these cars? Are they going to go up in value 15 years from now, and enthusiasts are going to be outbidding each other on auction sites trying to get one? And the answer is no. Honestly, I leased this new, so I have the full 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty. My lease is only 3-year, 36,000 miles. And I probably won't want to own this car after out of warranty. There's so many electronics in here, and obviously, though it's a great modern car, it doesn't have a feel of some of our recent, I'll call them classic modern cars. So if you read the title of this video, if you can read, you know this is about the E46 M3, and today we're going to talk about what makes this car so great. So why won't cars like the M340 15 years from now keep depreciating and not be sought after by enthusiasts and go up in value like the E46 M3? Well, let's look at all the things that make the E46 M3 great. If you like car videos, BMW videos, E46 M3 videos, you found your channel. So hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I post 3 videos a week, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. A lot of times I'll give you a 4th video. So you really want to make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell for that. Like and share these videos, share them with your friends, other enthusiasts. Leave a comment below. I respond to each and every comment. You don't have some social media guys actually responding. And get your Glenn's Car Collection merchandise. And all the proceeds go back to the channel. All right, so what makes the E46 M3 so good? Let me count the ways. Well, excuse me, it's been so good that I've actually owned 2 of these cars. My goal in life is not to have cars and keep them forever. It's to own as many cars as possible. So for me to buy an E46 M3 again, I must have loved that car, and it must be one of my all-time favorites, and it is. And part of the reason I bought an E46 M3 again is because my first car was stolen. That's why. That's the main reason. But I would definitely always want to own an E46 M3. So right now, you're looking at my 2003 Mystic Blue 6-speed manual with a black interior E46 M3. Previous to that, I also had another 2003 Laguna Seca Blue, same thing, black interior, 6-speed manual. That one was a sunroof delete car. That, unfortunately, is the one that got stolen. But fantastic car. So what makes it so good? Well, first of all, what makes it great? Forget about so good. Well, first of all, the looks. I think this car is probably one of the best designs from BMW, the E46 3 Series and M3. And I think, 20 years from now, so far, these cars are, 15 years old, give or take. My car's 17 years old, going to be 18 years old when the 2021 models come out shortly. And it's one of the best cars I've ever owned, and one of the best looking BMWs, in my opinion. I love every angle of this car, from the front, the rear, the side, the inside, the dash layout, the wheels, the stance, everything about the car. So what makes this car so great? Well, there's a lot of things. One is the S54 engine. I've been lucky enough to have the S54 engine 3 times. So my 2 E46 M3s, and then also in my Z3M Coupe. And this engine is to die for. It's naturally aspirated, revs over to 8,000 RPM, and that brings us to another thing for the E46 M3. It's available with a manual transmission, and a lot of the cars were manual transmissions. Like if you like the SMG, get it. If you buy an SMG car, you could swap it to manual or just get a manual, and it drives my car drives exactly the same today in 2020 when I'm filming this video as it did in 2003. in the year 2021, long after I'm gone, it'll drive the same way as it did in 2003. And that's what I love the car. Though it doesn't have the performance of this car, the M340, that's not the point. It's got brilliant looks, a phenomenal normally aspirated engine, and you know, the turbocharged engines are so much faster. Like this car blows an E46 M3 away as far as performance. But is it more fun? And the answer is no. So for the E46 M3, what you could do is you get to spend a little more time in each gear. So with the normally aspirated and the high revving nature of the engine, going up to 8,200 RPM, you get to spend a lot more time in each gear, and then you get to do a high RPM shift. These turbo motors, most of them go to 6,500 RPM, 7,000 RPM, and you're not spending as much time in each gear, and a lot of that power is down low. While it's good for around town and daily driving use, if you want to have fun at the racetrack or even your favorite back roads, the joy, I think, really comes at high RPMs in a normally aspirated engine. And I think that's really the secret for these cars. And you get to go up and down through the gears. And you know what? You got to heel toe yourself. You got to rev match yourself. And there's a lot of skill to that. And it takes a long time to master that. And I think when you can do that, or at least attempt to do that, even practice is fun. You can do that on, you'll get better and better and really enjoy that high revving nature of the engine. So that's huge. Handling, I think it's got one of the best chassis, even stock. So not my Mystic Blue one, but my original Laguna Seca Blue one, I autocrossed the stock and I was very competitive. Get some sticky tires. If you really want to do like track work, not autocross, you probably have to upgrade the brakes, just like most cars, or maybe upgrade the cooling. But I was able to run really competitive lap times just stock with some sticky tires on it. And one of the reasons it handles so good is pretty much a 50-50 weight distribution. You also have a limited slip differential. I think for track use, the 18-inch tires are a little better, but these 19-inch wheels look phenomenal. And I had 18s on the Laguna Seca, 19s on the Mystic, and as far as looks go, I prefer the 19s all the way. But it doesn't matter. It's still a great car. So we went over manual trans. I think another big thing is it's rear-wheel drive. Most cars today, to get to phenomenal numbers, are going to all-wheel drive. And this is a pure rear-drive car. It's actually relatively lightweight for its time. You know, well, at that time, that's kind of what cars weighed. So it's lightweight compared to cars now. And so it's definitely, hundreds of pounds less than this car, the M340. And another big thing, so one thing that I think is not looked at enough with these cars is that it has hydraulic steering, not electric. So the steering on this car sucks, the M340. I mean, there's no feel to it. You put it in sport mode, there's more heft to it, but you still have zero feel. And that's every modern car. I'm not picking on this car. But the E46 M3 with that hydraulic steering, you get in that car after driving a car like this, yeah, it won't be as fast, and maybe you'll be underwhelmed on your initial test drive until you can get somewhere on a road where you can actually rev it out and have the magic of that chassis. And then that hydraulic steering makes all the difference in the world. You know, like Jeremy Clarkson said, you could run over a spider and tell what it ate for lunch, or you can run over a quarter and know if it's heads or tails. The steering is to die for, the looks are to die for, the high revving nature are to die for, and all those things together made that car great. Now, it wasn't a cheap car when it came out. I think my cars had stickers of about $52,000, which was a lot in 2003. Then they dipped to 10, 15, 20,000 in that range. And, now they're 25, 30, 35, 40,000 we're seeing. And it's a phenomenal car, especially if you can get one, I would say under 30,000. You don't want that $10,000 or $15,000 one because you're going to spend another 10 or 15 getting it right. Get a $30,000 car that doesn't need anything, or get a $25,000 car that only needs $5,000 worth of stuff. And that's the downside. So this car is new, warranty, I got free maintenance. It's not going to really cost me any money. The depreciation is already in the lease payment. E46 M3, if you get a good one, I don't think you're going to have to worry about depreciation at all. I think they'll rise another $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. They will. You'll see $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 low clean mileage E46 M3s, and the high mileage ones will probably be 30, 35 or somewhere in that range. You are going to have to sink some money into it. Those cars probably cost you $2,000 in maintenance or fixing. If they're 17 years old, stuff's going to break because it's 17 years old, and then some stuff's going to be replaced as you get into high mileage. So you're always going to probably put $2,000 a year into that car, give or take. Maybe one year you'll get really lucky, you only put $1,000 or $1,500. The next year you might put $3,000 or $4,000. So It's definitely a labor of love. So you've reduced depreciation. Like this kind of car probably depreciates $10,000 a year, right? So the E46 M3 may go up $5,000 a year, something like that, let's say, and you're going to put $2,000 in maintenance. So maybe it went up $4,000, you put in $2,000, so you're plus $2,000. This car, you're not going to put in anything because they have free maintenance, but you're going to lose $10,000 if you bought it, right? So that's kind of the way to look at it. And an E46 M3, if you get a good one, and don't be swayed by mileage, because my first one was a low mileage car, and my second one, the one I have now, the Mystic Blue, was like a 90,000 mile car when I bought it. So condition matters way more than mileage. So in some ways, the $90,000 one was more reliable because it was driven. So don't be afraid with even 100, 110, 120,000 mile car, as long as it's maintained. But you got to make sure it's continued to be maintained. If you buy that car and neglect it for a couple of years, you know, that $2,000 a year or whatever it is going to carry over, and then year 5 you're going to have $10,000 worth of stuff, right? So that's something you just have to keep in mind. All right, so that's what makes the E46 M3 so great. If you like these kind of videos, hit the like button, share them with your friends, comment below on your thoughts on the E46 M3 and how it compares to an M340 or a modern car and what you like about it, and hit the notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.